One of the good movers and shakers in Rhode Island is here to do a little moving and shaking tonight. I'll tell you, he walks around with a lit cigar like it's his baba, but I don't know if he's ever without one. I wonder if he sleeps with it. Karl Wadensten, who's the boss at Vibeco, a very successful company in Wyoming, Rhode Island. Wyoming, Rhode Island. Yes, there is a Wyoming, Rhode Island. He's the only guy to vote no on 38 studios way back when he sat on the board of the Economic Development Corporation. And to this day, he sits on the Commerce Commission, Commerce Committee, Commerce, whatever the heck it is. And he's done a lot of good things. And he just wrote a piece in the Providence Business News about checking your ego in leadership. And so, hey, I haven't seen Karl in a while, so he's here tonight. Welcome into My State of Mind. I am Dan York, and I'm honored that you make the decision to watch this program. Please continue to spread the word. We're on three times per night, weeknights, of course, 7:30 and 11:30 on MyRI TV, and Fox Providence at midnight. And yes, that was my phone clicking.
No, I turned you.
What's that?
I turned you. I thought you were moving over.
You turned me?
I did.
You're good, Kev. No, I think I messed up because my phone was not on buzz and, you know, texting all the time. You know, it really was a moving response. When I saw Tim White's piece last night on television, I felt like I had to revisit this. First Sergeant Peter Andrew McKenna was lost, of course, in battle in Kabul, and came back yesterday, and the people of Bristol and Warren just cried and opened their arms. Here's the headline. And here's Tim's story.
Neighbors and community is very important. I think to come out here, and it says that people care about you. People care about, you know, your neighbor.
For me, I wanted to come to show my thanks, to honor him. Because he went back 6 times, you know, and he didn't worry about his life.
And to think that they're in harm's way every day, and we go about our business, and every day we don't realize. We don't realize.
I just didn't know how else to show my kids to honor soldiers. So we brought them out, brought our flags. I hope it tells them how much we honor their son, and how much we feel for them. And obviously nothing can replace him in their hearts or in their minds, but hopefully knowing that the community is behind them and that we care for them as much as we're trying to show, I hope that eases their pain a little bit.
You know, Tim White put that together with John Villela, the photojournalist. The two of them did a magnificent job of capturing the community, and I really have nothing else to add other than I hope he knows, you know, I hope he knows. God bless him. Thanks to him and his family for their service, and our condolences. Moving along, it's hard to do that, but let's move along. Just one candidate. This was a puzzle today. Did you see this in the Providence Journal? The I-195 panel hires new director. So if I understand this correctly, the outgoing director, Jan Brody, resigned. We have a headline here, right? We have a headline here, right?
No, I already started.
You did? We already did that. Oh, we're a little discombobulated. I think it started with my texting. Kevin's ready to throw something at me. Say, hey, Fetzo, I already gave you the headline. We have a headline here, right, Kevin? No, anyway. This is crazy. This Jan Brody was hired amidst like a worldwide search, and you know they had a panel and a panel to the panel, and there were a couple hundred people that were interviewed. You've seen the 195 land. I know we haven't shown that yet. Aha! See? I knew I could call for something. And the new guy, Peter McNally's, reportedly earned the job to replace her with no fanfare whatsoever. In fact, no panel, no multiple person search or competitive interview process. Reportedly, nobody else applied or was interested. Now, either this is one of the worst processes I've ever seen, or an intimate personal hire that will be successful. Time will tell, but very strange. I don't know what it says about the marketability of the 195 land. Of course, the stadium deal. Where's the deal, Paw Sox and House Speaker? Still looms over all of that. you got to look out. You know, trees are not necessarily very healthy. When we get storms, they come down, and even when it's a beautiful day, same thing. The headline here was fascinating, and the story that Eyewitness News put on the air last night was even, well, there was a chuckle.
The Warwick Fire Department says 4 people were sitting at a red light when this tree came crashing down, trapping them underneath.
I didn't really know what happened.
Dominic Murgo was sitting in his car.
The tree is right through the back of my car. My back windshield was completely shattered.
Murgo says he was on his way to pick up his passport so he can play in the Monopoly World Championships in China when the branches came down.
I was in my car probably about a good half hour. You know, it was getting a little warm in there.
4 people were sent to the hospital, 3 that were trapped, and another person whose car was in front of the falling branches. All are expected to be okay.
I'm going to ask Jess to bring Dominic Murgo in here. I want to hear the entire play-by-play of that story, and perhaps we can play some Monopoly. And he sounds like an interesting guy. We wish him the best luck in the tournament. Thank God he's okay. It's nice to see somebody's got a sense of humor while they had a near-death experience, it seems. My goodness. On the sports front, this is a fascinating legal conversation. No college union. SportsIllustrated.com shows us this headline. This was a long time in coming. Originally, a labor officer had agreed with the Northwestern football athletes and athletes in general there, who said, look, you know what, we are part of the economic puzzle here, but we don't get much economics. So these, you know, smart Northwestern kids, you know, they're all part of that very high academic environment at Northwestern, decided they were going to make this a federal case, and they almost pulled it off, but the National Labor Relations Board says, you know what, between state schools and private schools and tiers of NCAA competition, it's not an equitable playing field, and it's too difficult to establish a union with fixed compensation. So they failed. But you know what? There are a lot of messages about how, again, multi-million-dollar profits are made by colleges at the expense of athletes that are just paid tuition. Now, you may think, well, that's enough. It might be, but stipends and all that kind of thing, we're way behind the times, and some of the rules are way too economically stringent for the student athletes. So hopefully they've made some gains despite not winning the big prize. And speaking of winning the big prize, the pursuit is on here on a local level. Some controversy in Cranston, of course, not too much controversy in Warwick. The 2 neighboring cities, Warwick being the 2nd largest and Cranston the 3rd largest in the state of Rhode Island, are enjoying the idea that there are competitors. Here are the girls team in Warwick. They are called, what are they called? They are called Warwick North. The Warwick North softball team actually got a chance to play on ESPN2 tonight on a national basis. Semifinal game to go to the final. They're playing Central Iowa. Is that who they're playing? Amid some controversy, none of which I have the time to explain, but had nothing to do with the Warwick team, that's for sure. We wish them the best of luck. A little gender equity there in terms of big-timeness. And, of course, Cranston Western blows through the New England Championships after having lost. By the way, there's common ground. Warwick North lost their first game in double elimination, then won 5 in a row, I believe, and then Cranston Western lost their first game and won 4 in a row to win the New England Championship. They're at Williamsport, and one of the parent/coaches is very excited.
Past week has been incredible. The past 36 hours have been ridiculously busy, from well-wishers to everybody from our alumni to our current families getting in touch with us. So we wish them both the best of luck. It's good stuff. Pretty big time. Didn't have that when I was a kid. Your state of mind is important to us. Feedback, 228-1886. State of mind at myritv.com, Facebook and tweet. And we'll give you some feedback, your state of mind, tomorrow night. But I'm going to hustle because I want to talk to Karl. He never lights that thing. It's against code, you know. Yeah, so he had something to say. Here it was in the Providence Business News, although I think there's some kind of discrepancy. I'm not sure that's exactly what the headline, is that the headline that you wanted? No.
Well, you know, it happens. But it was written in...
You write a column, no one ever writes their headline with it.
I wrote the headline.
Oh, you did?
It was very important to me.
Well,
it was check your ego at the door.
As opposed to keep your ego in check.
Check.
Well, how did that happen?
Well, they have it written in there, Dan. It's kind of hidden in there, but the key thing was check your ego at the door. It was so important to me because, you know, as
It's
a
a good piece, though.
Yeah, thank you.
Read the Providence Business News. I mean, it's not a very long piece.
No, you only had 250 words.
Yeah. And
you only had 250 words.
So rather than reading it to me,
yeah,
tell me what you were saying.
Well, the key impetus is...
By the way, do you go to bed with those?
Yeah, sometimes I do. You find them all over the place.
Your wife's a saint. I don't know how she, you know. I mean, I'm good on the golf course with it, but I mean, it's your thing. It's
my thing.
It's your baba. It's your signature.
Exactly.
It's your style.
Exactly. It keeps
good to see you, by the way.
keeps it's the ADD. Nicotine and ADD work well together, I think.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
All right.
So anyway, so the article was really the brainchild. I got together with Mark Murphy at PBN because, you know, talk radio, news radio, we're always talking about Rhode Island, lack of leadership. And I'm getting tired of listening to lack of leadership because we have pockets of leadership all over the state. It's just that we don't bring them up. So I sent an email to Mark and said, hey, you have this PBN, Providence Business News. Let's use it as a vehicle for different leaders in different positions all throughout the state weekly and call it, you know, one last thing. So Mark thought about it, he sent me an email and he started it, which was great. So my article, Check Your Ego at the Door, is that as you look at these newscasts, and you're analyzing news, you're talking to people all the time, and you have to take pause at some point and say, wasn't there one time when you just wanted to stop for a second and ask somebody else their opinion? Or stop and say, I don't have all the answers, maybe I better check with somebody? Or, you know, don't come walking in here and telling me you know everything because it's so complex, and how can you know everything? If you know everything, you might as well be ruler of the world, like in, you know, what the heck's that British thing when he had the little gold finger? What the heck is it? I'm bad.
James Bond?
No, not James Bond.
Harry Potter?
No, not Harry Potter. The funny one there.
Jess, what's he talking about? She always
the funny
bails
one,
us out.
the English movie. I can't remember. We'll figure it out after. Well, no, it was the British.
Jess said British aren't funny.
There go the ratings for the York show. But no, to get back to it is that check your ego at the door. I don't have all the answers all the time, and I need people to ask questions. You and I confer every once in a while. We'll talk, and we'll have some dialogue, and we'll get a new perspective. And the next step to this, Dan, which is even the more profound piece, is that, you know, I'm on this commission for the governor of lean and operational excellence in the state. She signed the executive order in our building,
well,
right?
You know, I should probably take 30 seconds to establish all of that, because sometimes I make the mistake of being too familiar. Karl, as I told you at the top of the show, is a member of the Economic Development Corporation Board formally, the only one to vote no on 38 studios. That morphed into the Rhode Island Commerce Corporation. You have been retained by the Raimondo administration on the board.
Yep.
You and your Vibeco company and with your lean processes have done a lot of volunteer work in the state, trying to bring some examples, including the pothole project that we worked on.
Yep.
And now you have made some inroads to be able to say, hey, look, we can bring efficient lean processes to the state across the board, and the governor, to her credit on this one, certainly said, all right, Karl, champion the cause. So now you understand what he's talking about.
Right.
Keep going.
And it's getting rid of waste. So with getting rid of waste, you need leaders in all these departments. So hence, check your ego at the door, get leaders in all these departments. And now she has a piece, and hopefully will be introduced very, very shortly, where we're going to be looking for business leaders, where we're going to marry business leaders to public sector heads of departments for mentorship. How profound will that be for the state? Because everybody needs someone as a mentor, whether you want to be a good golfer, whether you want to be a good TV host, whether you want to be a good manufacturing guy. It's always good to find somebody that you can have as a mentor. So she really liked that piece, that let's get some mentorship, because now we can collaborate with the private sector and public sector. Our problems are both the same. They're just wrapped up in different things.
So you're telling me that how many different departments and directors in government?
It'll be like 36 to 40 different department heads.
And so what? Private sector business
volunteers,
leaders will volunteer to what? Shadow and take notes and
No, be
or
mentors,
just
be somebody that they can
go to, phone call. Hey,
phone
what do
call.
you think?
Yeah, phone call, meet it.
Formal plan, no? Formal results report on it, and how's it going? Progress? What? Tell me about the mechanics.
We haven't gotten the mechanics down because I've been informally mentoring Janet Coit at DEM for the last 4 years.
She's pretty well respected in the job that she does.
She's extremely well respected, and
well,
she's heading up the
Would you tell her
league.
I'd like to get her on the show?
She'd love to come on the show.
Well, the
I'm
Raimondo
sure.
administration is, I will tell you, you know, the governor's been here.
Yeah.
She's still observing the radio boycott, which is insane. You don't have to comment.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, they've been very slow in. They are not media savvy in terms of getting people in front of microphones and cameras and explaining what the heck they're trying to do. And I think the department heads have all become. Chafee was incredibly upset with media, and the Raimondo administration hasn't broken that culture. There's a tentativeness to the leadership team you're talking about communicating directly with the people of the state.
You know, I definitely urge Janet to be on here because Janet is just the type of person I wrote about in this article. She checks her ego at the door. She listens to her people. She empowers her people. She's done things at DEM that are remarkable. When you walk out of DEM, we did a report out with George Nee, who's the head of the AFL-CIO, and they had a report out from the collaboration and the work that they did there. And George grabs you in the parking lot and says, Carl, what the heck just went on in there? I've never seen state workers so excited about their work and so interested. And you know, George is excited about having his people that work for him feel fulfilled in their work and do things for the state that really should be done here in the state. So I'll urge Janet to get on here.
All right, when we come back, you know, what the moral of this story is, if we can actually capture that. Stay with us. And there is Karl, the governor, of course, one of the big days at Vibco where demonstrations about lean processes, which you've mastered at your company, were kind of on display for the governor as she you know, moved this lean initiative forward. I've taken that tour myself and gone through it, and it's amazing how you could figure out, come on back to me, Kev, here for a second. You know, if you move this over here, and you move that over there, well, the distance between those 2 points is now better for me. I mean, that's kind of...
It's common sense. And it's getting people to talk and think about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, by the way, the movie that he was trying to figure out is Austin Powers. What was your reference to
Shagadelic?
But what was your point?
Well, the point was, remember little mini-me? He had the little mini-me. He was going to take over the whole world.
Right.
He knew everything. He had a big ego.
Right.
Where did it get him? Nowhere.
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 Oh, you guys get it now? That's what it was all about.
It's out in left field, but anyway, go ahead.
$1 million. Okay, Austin. By the way, he's Canadian.
Yeah, okay.
You're not coming on here for your international expertise, are you?
No.
But what's the moral of the story? I mean, you know, you're a guy who is you're one of the lead cheerleaders in the state, and I think that's a credit to you. We need to talk more positively and be looking for solutions. Do you feel sometimes, though, that you're spinning wheels?
Yeah, you know, we talked a little bit about this, that sometimes we forget about the hometown players here in the state of Rhode Island. You know, the companies that have been here, that have been trudging through it, and everybody has a new vision, new plan to bring in, you know, new companies, new industry, and things like that. But there's still a base of people here that pay the lights, that pay the salaries of everybody in the state. And those guys, sometimes we feel a little bit left out. You know, that we want to share.
It's kind of like chicken or the egg. I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether they're left out or whether they're just operating despite. I think the chambers of commerce, while well-meaning, have been inept in being a place for business to actually, I mean, lobbying a bill or two, whatever, but to really take charge and to meld and merge. I know the governor's big on this jobs thing. Her programs, I'm not that impressed yet, but we'll see whether they bear some fruit. You're on her team, so I'm sure you're bullish. Well, my point is that I can't figure out whether businesses just said, you know what, we'll just operate despite, and osmosis of economy drives the state as opposed to initiative. I
think a lot of us have been doing that for a lot of years. You know, just doing
You're making
our own
money.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we sell all over the globe. Thank God we don't just have a New England
a lot
market.
of companies are making money here.
Yeah, and they want to grow here. They want to grow and add people.
Do you feel like you can speak for Business Rhode Island about its current temperament? Its disposition, its interaction with government?
I think I could speak to what I hear.
What do you hear?
Because everybody has their own story, is that they really want to get involved with things like this, real jobs, right? They want to do the real jobs and see this work.
That's the name of the governor's program.
That's the name of one of the programs. She's got a bunch of programs. And I think this real jobs thing, if we get critical mass on this,
20 seconds, tell everybody what it is.
Real Jobs is a collaboration of businesses where we form industry sectors. We get together with both universities, the public sector, and form training programs that will sustain just a one-year period of time, because generally you have programs that are 1 year, a grant, you get it done, it's very monochromatic, one company. Now there are 6 and 8 and 7 companies with real focus on industry sectors. And that training program will withstand 5, 10, 15 years and kind of be the next catapult for the the workers that we're going to bring in and the people that we're going to find.
These things feel intangible to a lot of the people in
the
state.
It's so intangible. Even for us that are in it, it's intangible until you just stick a shovel in the ground, start shoveling, and just bring people along with you.
Remember the Commerce Corporation, you ever thought on the new executive director? You know, there was a 200-person search to get the last director. This is a one-person tap.
No, the governor's extremely lucky that she has great networks outside of the state of people that have done some pretty profound things in other states, because Rhode Island is in the first place. You're going to put your stake in the ground and say, I'm going to go to work at Rhode Island in the Commerce Corp. And Stefan Pryor and Darren that are there have done some pretty amazing things in New Jersey and New York. And the feedback that I've gotten from my people are that there were movers and shakers there. But remember, it's New Jersey and New York. Let's see it move and shake in Rhode Island.
Have you been elected to something? Because that was a.
Well, she think about it.
Are you okay with the hire of a guy? You know, I guess it was a networking deal as opposed to an open application process.
Well, you know,
I'm confused.
You may have followed that, but
I'm just reading.
You're reading, yeah.
I'm just reading.
But you know what? The guy's overqualified actually for the job. Let's see the new blood. Let's see what he can do with the whole thing. And we're fortunate to have a governor that has these networks. Who else in the state of Rhode Island is going to go be? We've had people that have been chairs heading up the Commerce Corp 2 and 3 times, right? Yes. You know, and it's just a tough job.
We got to go. Check your ego at the door.
Please.
And lead.
And lead.
Yes. See you, man.
Thank you. Shout out to all my interns, Jess and Emily.
Shout out.
Shout out.
We'll be right back. Okay, Austin Powers, by the way. Here's the thing. We didn't get to the Cranston situation tonight, but Mayor Fung appeared on WPRO on the John DePietro program this morning, and I think walked himself into a whole big bunch of trouble. And he doesn't know it, and that's kind of a problem. We'll cover a little bit of that, I hope, tomorrow night, but certainly on Thursday. So make note that there's more to do on that saga of the state police report in the city of Cranston. In the meantime, Grow Smart Rhode Island reviews what the government did this past legislative session on the program tomorrow night, so hopefully you'll be here. We'll see you on the radio at noon until 3 on WPRO. Thanks for watching. Bye.